Shabbat Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Kal Halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Racha Kodash. Double honor to the elder apostles and the elder bishops and the elders at the great millstone GMS who rule well and who teach well. And salutations to the hopeful elect, noising this gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, wherever you may be. Okay. Teaching his truth in all sincerity, in hopes that, we may be delivered in these last days, which we are certainly in. All right. Abba Ratazah, which means Father willing. So Father willing, this lesson is edifying. Yep, it's going down. All right. As you can see, this is in Israel, Tel Aviv. All right. It's actually playing right now.
Exemptions, allowing them. We advocate for Judaism and they advocate for Zionism.
So we should advocate for keeping the Torah and commandments, and they advocate for nationalism, the army, and other things. We do not want to be a part of that.
Chaos erupted on the streets of Israel as a long simmering battle over military service exploded into open confrontation.
Now this was dated June the 12th, 2026, the year of
Thousands of ultra-Orthodox...
the year of sellouts, agents, and apostates. But this will be ongoing. Today is Sunday the 14th of June 2026, and the article is from the timesofindia.com. All right, so I'll put the link to this article in the description box underneath. All right, but this will be ongoing. Okay, I won't play all of it.
Orthodox Jewish protesters poured onto major roads across central Israel, bringing traffic to a...
Oh, fair use, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this. This is strictly for edification purposes and educational purposes only. All right, I am not benefiting from this monetarily.
Standstill and turning busy highways into scenes of unrest. Dramatic images emerged from areas near Tel Aviv and the ultra-stronghold of Bnei Brak, where demonstrators occupied roads, blocked critical intersections, and staged mass acts of defiance against the state. The unrest was triggered after Israeli authorities transferred 19 alleged draft evaders into military custody following their arrest during clashes outside the residence of a senior Supreme Court judge. But what began as outrage over the arrests quickly snowballed into a much larger movement against military conscription.
Let's skip a bit.
Security forces responded with crowd control measures in an effort to restore order. Law enforcement personnel, including units of the border police, remained deployed well into the night as authorities struggled to disperse the crowds. According to the Ynet outlet, some protesters attempted to break down the gates of a police station while demanding the release of demonstrators arrested during earlier unrest outside the home of Israeli Supreme Court Deputy President Noam Solberg. The report also said a secular Israeli civilian was injured during the violence. The man, who declined to identify himself, said he was kicked in the head by rioters and was left bleeding. What made the unrest particularly striking was its timing. The demonstrations took place on the Jewish Sabbath, a day traditionally reserved for rest. In response, authorities unleashed the high-pressure system. Jets of foul-smelling liquid, commonly known as skunk water, blasted into the gathering, sending repeated bursts into the front lines. While military service is strictly mandatory by Israeli law, the ultra-Orthodox community has successfully maintained widespread exemptions for decades, a privilege their political parties are now fighting to legally...
You had to get him sprayed, all right? You had a JJ being dragged by his own cousins, the IDF. Get his sprayed, hosed, all right? You're seeing all that going on there, man. Right? So what's happening over there? Okay. Hundreds of ultra-Orthodox Haredi protesters blocked major highways and rail lines in a dramatic show of opposition to military conscription. Clashes broke out with police in Tel Aviv and central Israel as officers backed by mounted units moved to clear demonstrators who had brought traffic to a standstill. The protests were triggered by the detention of alleged draft evaders and come amid a growing national dispute over military service exemptions for the ultra-Orthodox community. At least 2 protesters were injured during the demonstrations, including a 93-year-old man reportedly struck by a vehicle. Him all self. Anyway, let's go to the book of Mark chapter 3. Right. Mark chapter 3 verse 23. And he, Yahushua, called them unto him, and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So what we are witnessing is the house of E divided, fighting one against another. Right, this is happening in the land over there right now. Right, so the Most High is having these devils at each other's throat. They're at each other, man. And it's yappa. It's because your kingdom is falling, man. Your rulership is falling. Verse 26. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. A kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. Right? Kingdoms in the past, they fell. What makes Edoms any different? Edom in the Hebrew is Adawam, which means red. Right? And they've taken peace from the earth. Okay. See them on horses. Alright. Okay. Even over here in the UK, you see them patrolling the streets. Okay, you know, on horses. And they don't even look right on them, man. It doesn't even suit them. You know, in their pride. It just doesn't fit them. Yeah, but these civil wars going on. Alright. You know, in the world, it's going to ramp up. Alright. Look what's going on, you know, happening in Belfast. But we see civil war going on in Tel Aviv. Alright, and you know what month it is as well. Pride month. June. Yeah. Alright. You know, they have the biggest happy parade over there. That's the speaking code. Alright. It's June, ain't no microchip. It's June. Yeah. Let's go into the word house in the Greek. Okay.
Strong's G 3614. Oikia.
House, an inhabited edifice, a dwelling in the inmates of a house, the family, property, wealth, goods. Yeah, you know, beginning with the rich elites, alright? You know, who hoard up all the wealth and things like that. Oh yeah, they don't have to pay taxes. They live fine, man. Eat the best foods, drink the cleanest water. Alright? They have it good. They don't have to worry. Alright? Now, of course, they know they're going into slavery. Alright, underneath us Israelites. Okay. Well, you know, look how he deals with each other. Right? They don't even share the wealth with the rest of the, you know, the other Edomites. Right? So they're heavily divided against each other, man. Okay? Even though a woman is against them. Alright? And they got that wealth, you know, ill-gotten gains, robbery, theft, murder, killing. Yeah, rape, robber, murder. Alright? Bloodshed. Alright? After he's blessing the sword. Okay. Let's go into the root word.
Strong's G 3624. Oikos.
A house.
Oikos.
Home. An inhabited house. Any building, whatever, of a palace, the house of God, the tabernacle, any dwelling place. The place where one has fixed his residence. One's settled abode. The missile. The inmates of a household, the persons forming one family, a household. Okay. Yeah, lineage of E, fighting against each other. Alright? Yeah, man. Falling apart, man. Okay. The stock family descendants of one. Yeah. Let's go from there to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3. Start verse 32. For the froward is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of the Lord Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. See that? Esau is the curse, man. Right? It tells you that in the book of Isaiah, chapter 34. Alright? This devil is an abomination to the Lord, man. Okay. Let's go to the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 34. Verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom. Right? And upon the people of my curse to judgment. That's right, man. So, yeah. The vessels of the wicked fitted for destruction. Right? The vessels of wrath fitted for destruction is going down. Ezekiel, chapter 25. Start verse 12. That subheading says Edom. Thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh, power. Yeah. That's right, man. Judah is the head of the nation of Israel. Right? Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Okay. Alright. You got Northern Kingdom, Ephraim, head of Northern Kingdom. Alright. Judah's head of the Southern Kingdom, but Judah's head of the whole nation of Israel. Alright. Okay. So you got Ephraim and on down to the rest of the, Northern Kingdom tribes. Asher, Manasseh, Zebulon, Gad, Reuben, right? Simeon, okay? Naphtali, all right? Yeah. And look what these devils have done to our people. You know the history, right? After 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, right, in the kingdom, we get our hands on you, right? All you heathens are going into hardcore slavery for 1,000 years. But E will be done away with for good after that, man. Obadiah 1 and 18. We gather you together and just burn you. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. That's right. Okay. He'll be done away with for good, man. Judah will take his land. All right. At least these other heathen nations, they'll go back to their lands, but they'll be tributaries for us or to us forever. Right? They won't have to suffer unclean air and pollution and GMO foods and chemtrails, water that's been tampered with. Just the whole messed up environment. That won't happen in our kingdom like it's happening now. Forever chemicals and that, hormones and, there's a whole polluted environment. That's not going to take place in the kingdom. This one's all filthy and polluted and backwards. Women above men. Alright? But, he says, he claims to have the highest IQ. But yeah, man, that won't take place in our kingdom. But yeah, I'm glad it's exciting, man. Kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Right? So yeah, I'm gonna end the lesson there, man. Alright. Say Kal Halal Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Rakak Wadash. Shabbat Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, and a bad babal.